Hello guys, welcome back again to another tutorial. My name is Dorothy. In today's video I'll be sharing with you how I cut and sew these beautiful palazzo pants they are seeing right now. If this is something you're interested in, please do well to watch this video to the end so you don't miss out on any detail or explanation. And if you're coming across this video for the first time, please subscribe to this channel, because on this channel we do videos on pattern drafting and sewing tutorials. And if this is something you are interested in, okay, please subscribe to the channel. Do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and also drop a comment. Now let's get started with the video. I'm using this fabric for this tutorial. I don't know if it's a crepe fabric, but I got it from a bale shop. So you can use crepe fabric or any fabric of your choice. I have 2 years of this fabric right here, and it wasn't enough for me to make this pant because I was supposed to add side pockets to the trouser, but my fabric was not enough. So if you're on a bigger size, even if you're not on a bigger size, just to be on a safer side, please use 2.5 inches, okay? And the reason why I was able to get that result you saw from the beginning of this video was because the length of this fabric is by 60. So if you get a fabric that the length is by 45, you definitely need to use 3 yards of it. Now I'll fold this fabric into 2 so we draft the front piece. So guys, I'm done folding my fabric into 2. As you can see, the next thing I'm going to do is just to pin the side so that when we are drafting it doesn't shift. So go ahead and do the same, especially if you are working with a kind of fabric that is silky. So this line right here is going to serve as the start line or the waistline. You can decide to rule an horizontal line which will serve the same purpose. This trouser is going to have a waistband and the width of this band is going to be 2 inches. So on my tape roll, I'm going to be taking away the 2 inches by placing my measuring tape like this. Then I mark my hip measurement, which is 9 inches. Still leaving my measuring tape like this, I came down by 11 inches for the crotch length. Still leaving my measuring tape like this, I came down by 22 inches for my nail line. To mark the length of this pants, I have to shift my fabric so that you see what I am doing. The length I'm working with is 43 inches, then I added 2 inches sewing allowance, so I marked 45 inches as the length of the pant. Now I'm going to use my ruler to connect all those points that are marked horizontally. Here on the hip line, I'll divide my hip measurement by 4 and I'll mark it. The hip measurement I am working with is 44. 44 divided by 4 is 11. So I marked the 11 inches point, then I added half an inch sewing allowance to it. Now I'm going to use my ruler to connect this point I mark on the hip line on a straight line from the crotch all the way to the waist. Here on the waistline at this point, I'm going to come in by half an inch and I mark that. Then from this point that I mark this half an inch, I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect this point on a slant line to blend to this hip line measurement, just the way you see me doing. I feel this blue chalk is fine. Let me use a white chalk to highlight all those points that I marked. To create the crotch curve, here on the crotch line, I came out by 2 inches. The allowance on that crotch line is 2 inches. So I use my chalk to connect a curve like this all the way to meet the hip line, just the way you see me doing. For an adult, the crotch extension is usually 2 inches to 2.5 inches because my client wanted the crotch line for the front piece a little bit tight. That is why I came out by 2 inches. So here on the crotch line, I'm going to measure it just the way you see me doing, then I'll divide it by 2. And whatever I have, I'm going to mark it on the crotch line and I'll mark it on the thigh line. That is the nail line, sorry. I'll mark that on the nail line and also on the length of the pant. This is to create the grease line on the trouser. Then I will use my ruler to connect all these points that I mark on a straight line. Here on the knee line, I came in by half an inch and I make a mark there. Then I'm going to use my chalk to connect this point that I mark half an inch all the way to the crotch line, just the way you see me doing. This is just to give this pant a fit, nothing more. Okay, so after that, I'm just going to measure what I have left away from this half an inch, and whatever I have there, I'm going to extend it on the other side. Okay, then I make a mark there. Then I'm going to use my chalk to connect a line all the way to the crotch curve. Now for the length of the trouser, that is the hemline, I'm going to come in by half an inch just the way I did on the knee line. Then I'll connect a straight line all the way to the knee line, okay? Then for this crease line, I'm going to extend it all the way to the length just the way you see me doing. Now the measurement I mark on the knee line, I'll do the same thing on the hemline. Then I'll connect a straight line all the way to meet the knee line just the way you see me doing. To mark my waist measurement, here on the waistline, I divided my waist measurement by 4 and I marked it. Then I added 1 inch sewing allowance to it. So go ahead and use your own body measurement here. Now I'm going to use my ruler to connect this point I mark on the waistline all the way to the hip line. On this crotch curve here, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. Usually the back waistline is always higher than that of the front. So I'm going to reduce the front by 1 inch. Then I'll use my ruler to connect this point all the way to the side of the waistline. We are basically done drafting this front piece. So let's go ahead and cut this out. I'm done cutting the front piece. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to fold another fabric into 2 so we can draft the back piece. So guys, I'm done folding another fabric into 2 as you can see. And what I did was I placed my front piece on the back piece. So let me use my office pen to hold all these edges so that when we are drafting it doesn't shift. Now I'll use my chalk to trace out the waistline, the crochet line on the back piece just like this. Here on the back waistline, I came up by 1.5 inches. Like I said earlier, the back waistline is usually higher than that of the front. This is because of the bump at the back. On that same waistline, I will come in by 2 inches. Then I make a mark there. Then on this 2 inches point, I came up by 1.5 inches. I was supposed to come in by 2 inches before going up by 1.5 inches. Then on this side, I'll come out by 2 inches. I'll make a mark there. So as you can see, I have replaced the 2 inches that I came in by on that crotch line. Now I'm going to use my chalk to connect a slant line from that side, from the side here all the way to meet the 1.5 inches that I came up by. And I'll also use the chalk to trace the side just the way you see me doing. The next thing is for the back crotch extension, I came out by 2.5 inches and I make a mark there. Usually the back crotch is always longer than that of the front. Now I'm going to use my freehand to cover the back crotch just the way you see me doing. Now I'm going to use my scissors to cut this out. Here on the nail line, I came out by 1 inch and I make a mark there. Then I'm going to use my chalk to connect this line all the way to meet the crotch line just the way you see me doing. Then I'll go ahead and cut this out. So guys, this is all for the drafting and cutting of the front and back pieces. So the next thing we are going to be doing is to sew this trouser. Now for the flap that we'll be using to create the zipper fly, the width of this is 2 inches while the length is 8 inches, and on the other side the width is 2 inches while the length is also 8 inches. From the beginning of the video, you will notice that that flap was longer, so I will advise that you reduce your flap to 5 inches at most, okay, so that you will not have that long zipper fly at the front. So guys, I've gone ahead to join one side of the flap like this, and also on this other side I also went ahead to join this side like this, and I also make sure that I iron this flat. So the next thing is for me to run a straight stitch here and also here, and this is what I have after I was done running the straight stitch. So right now I'm going to bring my front piece, these are my front trouser piece, and I'll arrange them properly on the table. Now I'm going to carry my flap and I'll place it on this side of the crotch just the way you see me doing. Like I said earlier, if you're going to be making this pants for yourself or for a client, reduce the length of your flap to 5 inches. Now I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew this side that you see me pinning, and I will be sewing it by half an inch. And after sewing it, I'm going to turn it over like this and run a top stitch on it. So let me go and do this and bring it so you see what we have. This is what I have after I was done sewing the flap and also top stitching on it. You can see the way it's looking like. So the next thing is that I'm going to place place my zipper on it like this. Then I'll also head over to the sewing machine and I'll sew this side like this, and I will be sewing this close to the edge of the zipper. So guys, this is what I have after I was done sewing the zipper to the flap. So now I'm going to turn this over just the way you see me doing, okay? Then I will use my chalk to trace out the curve on the zipper fly just the way you see me doing. Now I'll head over to the sewing machine and I'll stitch down this curve that you're seeing. This is what I have after I was done sewing the curve part. So the next thing I'm going to do is to bring this other flap and place it behind the zipper like this, okay? Then I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and I'll stitch this down by 1/2 inch on this second flap. So guys, this is what I have it looking like after I was done sewing the second flap to the zipper. So the next thing I'm going to do is to place my second front piece like this. Then on this crotch line, I'm just going to fold in about 1/4 inch, that is 0.5 inches, and I'll place it on this zipper, okay? So if you don't understand what I am saying, please just watch what I am doing, okay? I will use my office pin to hold this together as I fold in 1/4 inch and to cover up the zipper on this side. After I am done pinning this down using my office pin, I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and I'm going to top stitch on it just the way you see me directing. So guys, this is what we have after I was done top stitching. You can see how neat this look even though the flap is longer. So the next thing is I'm going to arrange the remaining crochet depth like this. Then I'll take it over to the sewing machine and I will sew it by 1/2 inch. This is what I have after I was done sewing the crochet depth. So while I was sewing this, there is still a gaping at this zipper end here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange this properly and I'll just top stitch on it just a little because the opening is just small. So guys, this is what I have after I was done closing up that gaping. So here on the waistline, I'm going to fold in about 1/2 inch for the dart. Now I'm not going to create a dart with it, I'm just going to make it plait just a little like this. Then I'll run a top stitch at the top of the waist like this. Then I'll do the same thing to the second side as well. So guys, this is what I have after I was done creating a pleat on the waistline. I just use my office pin to hold that down so that later I can iron it out. I'm going to keep this front piece aside while we work on the back piece. Here on the back piece, I'm going to arrange the waistline properly. As you can see, I already notched the dart. That is where I'm going to sew my dart. So I'll fold it in like this. Then I'll head over to the sewing machine and I'll sew this. And the dart is going to be 5 inches long, okay? And also I'll be sewing the crotch side. So I'll simply place the back piece together, right side facing each other. Then I'll sew this crotch by 1/2 inch. So guys, this is what I have after I was on sewing the dart and also the crotch line. So you can see how neat this look. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to place my front piece on the back piece like this, right side facing each other. Then from this waistline all the way down to the length of the trouser, I'm going to stitch it by 1/2 inch because the allowance that is left on the waistline on the hip line is 1/2 inch. So I'm going to stitch this by the 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So guys, this is what I have after I was done sewing the both side by the 1/2 inch sewing allowance left. So the next thing, I'm going to pick up the crotch, that is the both crotch like this. Then I'll place them together, make sure that the seam line are both in place. Then I'll head over to the sewing machine and I'll stitch this side by 1/2 inch also. This is what I have after I was done sewing the crotch all the way down to the length of the trouser. You can see how nice this look. Now I'll be keeping this aside while we work on the belt holder. So I have these pieces cut out and the width is about 1.5 inches. The length is just enough for me to create about 7 loops. So I'll just fold it in like this, then I'll create a rope with it. And this is what I have after I was done creating the rope. So I'm going to measure it to cut out 2 inches that we'll use to create the belt holder. After cutting out this, I'm going to place this one on the rope again and I'll cut the same length as well. So I'll keep doing this until I got the 7 pieces that I need. So here is the 7 pieces that I cut out. Now I'm keeping this aside. While for the band, I already cut out these pieces and these pieces is on fold. So the width of this band is 2 inches when I measured it and the length of the band is 37 inches. I'll be folding up this band like this, right side facing each other. Then I'll block the side just the way you see me directing, and I'll also be sewing 2 inches away. These 2 inches that I'll be sewing away will be used for the button or hook at that edge. So guys, this is what I have after I was done sewing this side and also sewing 2 inches away, and I also do the same thing to the other side as well. So I'm going to turn this over to the right side. Now I'll be placing the loop on all the joining that I have. So I fix this on this front plate, then I use my pin to hold it together. Then on the second side is the joining at the side. I just place the loop here and I use my office pin to hold it together. So I'll be placing each of this loop on all the joining in the trouser. So guys, this is what I have after I was done pinning down my belt holder. So here is the band and there's a joining in between. Now I'm going to place this joining at the back crotch of the trouser, the midpoint like this. So I'll use my office pin to pin this all the way around. Then I'll head over to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch this band like this. This is what I have after I was done sewing the band. So this excess that I have on the zipper, I'm just going to use my scissors to trim it out, and I did the same thing to the second side as well. Now on these rough edges on the band, I'm going to use my bias tape to close up the rough edges. You can also take this to the weaver and weave this out, okay? But I'll be using bias tape to pipe this. After that, I'm going to fold in the belt holder like this, then I'll top stitch on it. So guys, let me go and do this and bring it so I see what we have. So guys, this is what we have after I was done top stitching on the belt holder and also using my bias to pipe the rough edges on the band. And I also went on to weave the inner of this trouser. You can see how neat this looks. So on this hemline here, I just fold it in, then I use my hemming gum to hem this down, and that's all for the making of this trouser. So the last thing I'll be doing is to fix the button and the buttonhole on the waistband. Thank you so much for watching this video to this point. If this video was helpful, please give this video a thumbs up so that YouTube will send this video out to more people that will be needing this video. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do well to subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you get notified to when I will drop new video every week. And if you have any question concerning this tutorial, please drop your question in the comment section and I will reply to your question. Please keep the comment section engaging, okay? So guys, bye bye, see you all in my next one.